Good morning again. Thank you all for joining us at the Global Studies Senior Awards Breakfast. First things first, most important things, we had a coffee malfunction. We have a plan B. It should be here shortly. So any caffeine addicts, there is help on the way, but it'll just be a few minutes. We are still waiting on one of our award recipients, but to stay on time, we're going to start, and hopefully she shows up while we're going. I know the seniors are dying to get to class on time, so we will be very respectful of time. Seniors, I'll repeat what I told you when we checked you in. We are so proud of you and so happy for you, but nothing in life is free, so you have to do something to help us have a nice ceremony. After you are presented, we ask that each senior tell us where they're going next year, what they're doing, and any thoughts or reflections they have on their time at LT and in the department that is recognizing them. Also, there is a black X on the floor right here. That's your spot. If you're standing 4 feet away from the teacher saying nice things about you, it looks like you're afraid of them, and that's not the look we're going for. There is handshaking, hugging, whatever way you like to express your gratitude and affection. And without further ado, we'd like to start with the outstanding Family and Consumer Sciences student, Morgan Wyzorek, presented by Ms. Kate Mitchell. How about a round of applause for Morgan? You also have to find your way through the maze up there.
All right, good morning, everyone. Okay, deep breaths, right? All right, this is Morgan, as Mr. Houston already mentioned. We are all gathering here today to recognize students that as members of the division and individual departments have chosen, in our case, most outstanding student in FCS. As our 7 department members met and took part in dialogue, we asked ourselves, what makes a senior most outstanding? We felt the weight of that title, and what does that really mean? What does it really mean to be outstanding? Well, we decided that the person should have taken some FCS courses and our higher level coursework as well. Morgan has taken 7 courses. Keep in mind our courses are electives. So over Morgan's years, she has made time for these courses. She's taken summer school to take the courses that are fun to take. She's also a member of Symphonic Band, which of course complicates that even further. Outside of school, the school day, she's a part of Lions Den, Snowball, Rock Climbing Club, FCCLA, Peer Leadership, Marching Band, to name a few. We also decided that the person should have received good grades, all the while being a team player, kind, considerate, a leader, advocate. And then, of course, beyond these students not only dealt with the adversity of a pandemic, but for her, and I'm sure the other students in this room as well, it's become another avenue for them to shine and to showcase their talents. The challenge was faced but embraced. There was no complaining here. And when there was a difficult project or class, they worked through it. Morgan is no exception. This was not a sprint or a single interview, but a marathon of 4 years. What makes Morgan specifically most outstanding? I hope to illustrate that to you and why it's our pleasure to present the award to her today. Mrs. Dawn Soxtelis said that she had Morgan in several classes over the years. She was her student of the month, first semester, for her wonderful personality and welcoming, kind attitude towards everyone. She has an infectious energy and consistently encourages others. She said she didn't think she saw a day when Morgan did not have a smile on her face. When in class, she's always fully engaged and willing to participate in everything that we did. And she said that it was an absolute pleasure to have Morgan as a student, and she's confident in her abilities to go far and be an amazing teacher one day. Mrs. Lauren Genie mentioned that Morgan was in her Child Development 2 class, and during the remote and hybrid school year, she was one of the few students who was regularly in the classroom and who had her camera on when she was on Zoom all of the time when she was home. It was a pleasure having her in my class, especially during the preschool unit where she planned and implemented lessons to preschoolers over Zoom. And she led her team. She was enthusiastic and great with preschoolers. Ms. Basic mentioned that during remote learning, Morgan was the only student who would turn on her camera during the labs. There's a theme. She would bring her laptop into the kitchen, ask questions throughout labs, and truly wanted to be successful. She was one of the few who could contribute, ask and answer questions during Zoom classes, and her contributions in class were extremely high. She was, again, one of the few students in person who would ask questions during labs and had high interest. And again, with all of that, a positive attitude. Personally, I've had the pleasure to really get to know Morgan through our department co-curricular FCCLA. So whether we were, again, in person, meeting via Zoom, which of course was us cooking together but apart in our own settings, Morgan has gone above and beyond. She currently commutes from North Campus to South for our meetings, and she never enters the room alone. She's always carpooling, part of some type of caravan from North Campus. She enters the room with joy. She greets everyone, and she just jumps right in. While there, she converses and engages everyone in the room. Everyone's a part of it. She takes pictures, even, kind of helps post to the social media posts. She's present. She helps plan meetings. Not only gives her voice, which I think a lot of our students can do, but gives others voice as well, and she has a natural charisma. Most recently, I asked the group, so does anyone want to help me welcome the class of 2026? Morgan jumped right in. Yeah, I'll do it. Because everybody wants to come after school on a Monday and hang out for a few hours. And she naturally engaged 8th graders, their families, made 4 posters, brought candy, all on her own. On Monday, as we walked over to the field house together, we talked about Morgan's plans for college, beyond high school, and of course her hopes of becoming an early childhood education teacher. And we talked about today. And Morgan said, "You guys chose me? Really? Me? Most outstanding?" And I tried to reassure her, on that walk down. And I'll say it again for all of us to hear, and I hope that I've done her justice in partially maybe illustrating why she was chosen. But yes, Morgan, we chose you. You are most outstanding, and you more than deserve it. So thank you.
To keep it short and sweet, I could not be more thankful for all of the teachers I've had in this department, and I think I've really grown out of it, and to even make a career out of it is really outstanding for myself. If you asked me a couple years ago, would you see yourself here right now, and I completely would say absolutely not. But it's more than thrilling to move on with my future. I'm going to take everything that I've learned and really put it to use, and just one more thank you to you guys. Thank you so much.
How about one more round of applause for Morgan? At the risk of stating the obvious, this is the Global Studies Division faculty's favorite Wednesday of the year because rather than spend time in meetings, we're having breakfast and talking about amazing kids. And I think this year more than usual. It's been a rough few years for kids, for parents, for teachers. None of us wanted this. And we are particularly respectful of and proud of and impressed by students who excel and stand out in trying circumstances doesn't even cover it. So we just want to give our tip of the hat to all the students and all the faculty members. Teachers have their areas of content they teach, but any good teacher, when you ask them what they'll teach, will say students, not this class or that class. And it's harder to connect with kids when they're not in front of you. when they're on a computer screen, when you don't see them but you see the ceiling of their bedroom, right? That's a little tough and not nearly as enjoyable, and we're just so grateful to be back in person, and as I said, so particularly impressed by and grateful for the outstanding work of the kids in their 4 years. A note about the process, and Mrs. Mitchell alluded to this. Every year in the spring, my office asks every teacher in the division to nominate students using a standard form who've just been outstanding, excellent, superlative that year. So freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and we accumulate a folder over the course of 4 years. And then every year in the spring, we pull out the folder that has built up over 4 years for that year's current senior class, and we look at the students who have really distinguished themselves, and then we facilitate a meeting. And it's the best argument we have every year because we can only recognize the students you see here today, but there are some amazing kids at this school, and it's really quite an accomplishment to ascend to the level of being recognized this morning. So my congratulations again. We are going to continue. Our second student being recognized is being recognized for outstanding technology, which is in the business ed department, but in our technology classes. That is Keg Avakian, presented by Mrs. Natalie Carlson.
Oh, good morning. All right. So when Mr. Houston says we pull this folder out and we look over names and we argue about the people who are in there, actually, that just wasn't really even true this year. We pull out the folder, here are the names, Keg, and we're like, this is going to be the quickest meeting in the history of business ed, because we're all like, oh, just shut the folder right back up. Well, we know it's Keg. So I'm really pretty grateful to have known Keg, and it really is an honor to be up here today to present this award to him. I've had the pleasure of having Keg in class, actually each one of the past 4 semesters, and his list of courses is actually quite impressive. To take a little breath. Hold on, here I go. Ready? Okay. Engineering in Python, 2 semesters of PC repair and maintenance, programming in Python, Mobile Makers app development, advanced Mobile Makers app development, 2 semesters of AP Computer Science A, and finally an independent study in HTML and databases. I think that might already be a college major. I also want to share a few notes from the other technology teachers that Keg has had since he's been here. The first one's from Matt Van Diepen. I have known Keg since his sophomore year when he took PC repair and programming in Python. In both of these classes, Keg excelled in and always did the little extras to make sure he got it right or to make it even a little bit better. Keg has shown that he has what it takes to be successful. He already puts in the hard work and turns his assignments in on time. And, you know, teachers, you know that that's pretty big thing. Getting your work done on time is an important characteristic and says a lot about you. Keg approached me last year about doing an independent study on databases and HTML, and I had never put something together quite like that before. He was pretty enthusiastic about doing this project. And let me tell you, he did not disappoint. I was impressed by what he put together and felt that he gained an enormous amount of information by creating this project. Not a lot of kids come through these doors that have as much talent as Keg in the IT field. I believe Keg has a lot of promise and is going to do a lot of good in the field. Good luck to you. And then Mr. Saman says, Keg is a highly intelligent, hardworking, and amazing student. It was my pleasure to have him in class. We still use programs he wrote as examples in Python. His PC hardware knowledge is astounding, as shown by his PC repair CompTIA certification. I know this helped him secure a position with the IT internship. He was a joy to have in class, and I wish him all the best as he attends college. And finally, for me, Keg, he kind of has it all. He's very intelligent, but he has common sense. He can be focused and solve problems, but still laugh about his mistakes. He can come to you with questions about a topic and then turn around and teach it to his peers with ease. He's confident in his abilities, but humble enough to know he still has a great deal to learn. These are very hard characteristics to find in a high school student and soon-to-be graduate, but Keg really encompasses why we're all standing up here today. Keg, first of all, thank you for making my job easier. It's super easy when kids come in enthusiastic about your subject and they make you look really good when they pick it up like right away. Thank you for making me laugh often and being one of the first smiling faces online during the pandemic. And he was online. I know he's gonna kill me. He was always online. And we were actually talking about how tough, it was to be online all of the time, right? And it's really hard to focus in your bedroom and just sit there. And I was like looking, and I'm like, gosh, man, Kay's like online every day. And look, he's so attentive. I'm like, wow, I love that kid. And the next day I looked up there and I'm like, Kay, wow, he's really, maybe we should get him some side hobbies because he's still like really attentive. He's like really like, the third day I'm like, I think Keg is wearing the same clothes. He's had the same clothes on every day, and then I don't think he's blinked in like the last 20 minutes. And he took like a picture of himself, and then like that's what he was presenting during like when he had to step out. And so we often had a joke about that in the class. It was awesome. It was awesome. I'm like, Keg, I just thought you were always on camera. It was so cool. Anyway, but that's just one example of how he made me laugh. He's just a great guy. It's not going to be the same without you next year, but I'm so excited that you're pursuing your career in computer science, and I wish you the best of luck at Wisconsin, and we know you'll do great things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was a lot of praise. But yeah, it's been an incredible experience working with this department. It's just been a lot of opportunities, just one after another. Like you said, with the independent study and getting a summer internship at this school, I've learned a lot through LT, and it's just really incredible to see, like when you really put the effort into it, how much you can get out of it. And I think it's really awesome. And thank you for exposing my COVID secrets. But yeah, like she said, I'm going to Wisconsin-Madison next year for computer science, which is really exciting. I can't wait to take everything I've learned here and just grow it further there. So thank you.
Okay, most important announcement, there is coffee in the room at this time. If you're addicted to caffeine or apple juice or orange juice or water, please, we started a little early and we're on time, so if anyone wants, we'll take like a 2-minute break, and for the caffeine addicts to get what they need, please feel free to do so. We'll resume in about 2 minutes. I guess that means we're ready. Thank you. Hopefully people are in a better state now that they have what they need. We will continue with our third recipient this morning, being recognized for Outstanding Social Studies Student. Please welcome Luke Stockbridge, presented by Miss Jessica Drogas.
Good morning. It is my honor to present this award to Luke Stockbridge. And before we get into all of his excellent social studies successes, we'll say, I think you need to know Luke as a person. I had Luke in his sophomore year, and one of the stories he shared with me, and it was the first question I asked him today, he has coffee with his grandfather every morning before school. And this says so much about the type of person that Luke is. Yes, he is a phenomenal student, and he will go on and do wonderful things. But who he is as a person really is what matters. And he is still having morning coffee, and I know we talked about how that might be such a huge change, because for so long, Luke doesn't put himself first, he put others first in his life. And it makes him more than just the student that we all know and love. But as a student, here we go. Luke's unparalleled diligence, sophistication, and appreciation for the subject make him a leader in and out of the classroom. To succeed in social studies, as Luke has done, one must connect with the content on a deep level and react to it and with it. The level of understanding Luke has about European history and all history enables him to flourish and make insightful connections, going well beyond just learning history for a good grade. His many connections beyond just Europe helps Luke to discover the bigger picture and why history matters. And on a side note, he told me this morning that he took a Baltic cruise after taking European history and applied that knowledge and appreciation beyond our borders here. So he makes those connections. As many of you well know, the quantity of information and the level of skill in European history often proves difficult for many students at the sophomore level. Luke's performance strengthened and shined throughout the year. Whether it be in oral presentations, when Luke deftly fielded student and teacher-posed questions illustrating his grasp of the material while also challenging the class to look at events in a different light, or in his essay writing, where Luke adopted a distinctive style of proving his theses by supporting or refuting historical theories. The level of analysis, synthesis, and argumentation reveal Luke's inquisitive nature and intellectual maturity. But it also shows he's a risk taker, that as a sophomore, he would willingly take on the difficulty level of such a course of European history, willingly taking that on. And then being able to apply the skills he learned, or actually maybe not learned, just honed a bit more, as he had a lot of the skills coming in and could apply it to how many social studies classes? 5 social studies classes here at LT. That's why we like you. Although an academic leader in the class, Luke felt he could grow and challenged himself more. Taking the constructive criticism from me and his classmates, Luke would devise many strategies to truly learn the content and become more adept at using it to increase his understanding, allowing him to achieve his goals and proving his commitment to being a lifelong learner. Additionally, Luke's desire to learn more about the world and his contributions to the class enhanced other students' learning, as well as making the course more engaging. Hearing his perspectives on these various events elevated student interest in the class and led to greater understanding of the content and great discussions. In addition to his rigorous course load, Luke involved himself, and still does, in many activities in addition to academics at LT. His diligence and dedication to baseball and soccer fosters Luke's ability to work successfully as an individual to better his teams, thus making Luke a leader on and off the fields. Furthermore, Luke's keen interest in math and science led to his participation in World Science Scholars in order to work collaboratively to devise possible innovative solutions to major scientific problems facing the world. Although a math-science focus, Luke's dedication to trying to solve world problems speaks highly of his civic responsibility by being an active participant in solutions that may make the world a better place. This program provided Luke insight, opportunity, as well as great experiences into real-world skills that may change the world. His diverse interests, maturity, and compassion make Luke a role model to his peers. He has the unbelievable ability, I don't know how you do it. His time management is phenomenal. And that is something that I struggle with, and I think many of us probably struggle with. And to be able to do what you do day in and day out and all that you do, speaks and says so much about you and how you prioritize and what matters to you. It is for all of these reasons that Luke Stockbridge is chosen as the Outstanding Social Studies Student of the Year.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed all of the social studies classes that I've taken at LT, not only because I have a natural interest for them, but I've been blessed with some really amazing teachers that have been great. And the skills that I've learned in social studies outside the course content has been very useful too, from time management to learning how to study, writing 5-page essays, public speaking. It's pretty much prepared me for anything. I've had a great time with all the social studies classes I've taken. I'm planning on going to WashU in St. Louis and majoring in computer science and economics. Thank you.
We are going to deviate from the order in your program because we're hoping our last student is still going to join us. And just a couple of notes. If you notice, our teachers have done an amazing job, and the ones who are still to come will do as well. But if you notice a little trembling or tremor or anything that might surprise you as a teacher seeming nervous public speaking because they speak publicly for a living, first of all, in this setting with the cameras on, that's a little different. Secondly, it is 98% because of the esteem with which we have for the kids here. It feels like a lot of pressure to do right by kids that we love and respect and admire as much as the kids being recognized this morning. So please don't mistake that as anything but admiration for the students and trying to do right by them. Also, if I could take a moment to recognize a few people. First of all, our photographer, Mr. Randy Antlip. Can we have a round of applause? Randy is everywhere and all the time. It's amazing. I think he's one of triplets, perhaps. There are a bunch of him. He is taking photographs of each recipient and their presenter. We will have those, so if anyone's interested, you can email me or Claire Bach or Susan Hughes, and we will get you a copy of that photo. Secondly, behind the camera, filming for us, is Mrs. Candy Fay. Can we have a round of applause? Here bright and early and making this all occur, and we're very appreciative. And probably the most, and it transcends today, but I'll try to focus on today, two people without whom I couldn't do most of what I do. Teachers will echo the admiration, gratitude, appreciation. Please give a round of applause to the administrative assistants for the Global Studies Division in the back, Claire Bach on my left and Susan Hughes on my right. Some people say nice things about the way I facilitate this or whatever, and that's very nice. I appreciate that. I don't mean to be dismissive. But I have the easy part. I walk up here and start talking. They order the food. They decorate the room. They send the invitations. They print the programs. They print the awards. 99% of what happened to make this such a lovely morning is their work over the last several months. So please, one more round of applause for Claire and Susan. And as well as they did this morning's breakfast and recognition ceremony, that's how well they do everything. And they are two of the most selfless, kid-friendly, dedicated people I've ever known or worked with. And today's a perfect example because they got here extra early, picking up the donuts at Honey Fluff, decorating the room, pouring juice, trying to make coffee, then coming up with a plan B. And all that happened on, it's just a quirk of fate. This is Administrative Assistants Day. This is supposed to be their day, and we honored them by making them come in early and do all kinds of things they never. So how about a third round of applause for Claire and Susan? All right, back to what you came for, which is recognizing students. Our next student being recognized for excellence is in social studies is Aiden Joyce, being presented by Ms. Maria Ricker and Mr. Tom Swantek.
All right, as Paul just shared, I am a little nervous. And it's almost not fair because this guy is both on speech and debate, so he has a lot of practice speaking, and so I hope I do him justice. As Mr. Houston said at the beginning, teachers meet and they discuss which seniors we are going to recognize each year. And one of the things that we look at is how many classes in our department the students have taken. Aiden Joyce here has taken at least 13, he said. None of which I actually taught him in. So instead, I've had the privilege and the honor of knowing him through congressional debate. As a member of congressional debate for 4 years and captain his senior year, Aiden has demonstrated so many amazing qualities that make him so worthy of this award. But I want to focus on two, otherwise I would probably be talking well into fourth period. Aiden is one of the most humble people I know. A true leader leads by example while shining a light on his teammates. And that's what Aiden did every single day as a debate captain. Aiden brought home medals or hardware nearly every single tournament, but he was always the first person to celebrate the team's accomplishments, not his own. Aiden was chosen as one of the top 10 debaters in Illinois, but he never ever boasted about that. If you've ever heard Aiden give a speech, you know he is beyond comparison. But even with every reason to brag, Aiden remains so incredibly humble. The other quality that is so striking about Aiden is his kindness. Aiden has an ability to put others at ease with a small word or a big smile, even when we were behind masks. It's hard to describe, but he just has this energy that makes everyone around him feel comfortable and like they truly belong. We had dozens of students, many of them underclassmen, join debate this year. And they didn't just taper off after the first few meetings. They consistently came every single week, excited, fired up, ready to go, ready to do research, freshmen doing research. And I have no doubt that Aiden was a big reason why they kept coming back. Because of Aiden, many students found a family with their fellow debaters, and he leaves behind a legacy that will carry on well beyond his tenure as captain. I'm so proud to know you, Aiden, and I am so excited to see all the great things that you will do next. But Mr. Tom Swantek has more to say because we couldn't just pick one of us.
Okay, yeah, I want to be selfish because I've known Aiden for 4 years, and he's been in my sociology class and debate, and I could have asked the other teachers of those 12 other classes to give me a little synopsis of his performance, but I know what he's like, and I really want to focus, although he's an incredible student, I really want to focus on his contributions to debate, and just highlight and add on to what Maria said. So Maria and I cannot say enough about Aiden. He's one of the many incredibly smart kids in our classrooms and on debate team. However, what sets Aiden apart is that he's the model of civic engagement, which is why this honor is significant. It is clear today more than ever that democracy requires dialogue, debate, and compromise. It is also clear that democracy suffers in a world of social media and misinformation. And it is young people like Aiden Joyce who are on the front lines of defending democracy. Maria highlighted many of the selfless ways he contributed to the team, but let me explain how he supported democratic norms. Each time he invited new students to participate in debate, he supported democracy. Or built a bridge between kids on different ends of the political spectrum, or embraced the cultural diversity of the team, or defended LGBTQ students among us, or helped a freshman tie a tie for the first time, he was supporting democracy. That's true. I think I helped with your tie the first time. Each practice, when he hyped the team with the boom chicka boom chant, which he can do for us this morning, or when he researched facts instead of settling for retweets, or balanced research packets with solid conservative and liberal arguments, or truly listened to other sides of an argument, and when he challenged the occasional debater who didn't do those things. You got it. He was protecting, preserving, and building democracy. Aiden's actions are clear. He never chooses he chooses nation over party. He fights for democracy, not autocracy. My question to the students here is, what will you do next? Will you use the critical thinking skills and persuasion skills that you have developed at LT for good? Will you build a better future? In the case of Aiden Joyce, I'm certain he will continue to fight for democracy and support our country through civic engagement in meaningful and inspiring ways. Oh yeah! That's an inside joke.
Well, my ego is boosted for the rest of the week. Wow. I just want to say thank you so much. I know so many familiar faces here. I've had the pleasure of having me in your class, but all kidding aside, I want to thank each and every one of you. I know during COVID it's been really hard, especially for teachers. Now, I've not always been the student with my face on the Zoom screen, but nevertheless, I do want to thank all of you for what you've done for me. I'm going to U of I this fall, studying political science and economics, and I'm also going to get a minor in secondary education due to the influence that these two people right here have had on me. So really just thank you so much for all you do, continue to do it. Your impact really does matter, so thank you.
Just another note, kids and parents probably don't care, but I am so appreciative I need to take a moment. Every Wednesday, kids are delighted that they get to sleep in a little bit, but we do that because teachers meet in groups. You may have heard the initials PLCs, or professional learning communities. Teaching has become a much more difficult profession in recent times. We ask schools and teachers to do many, many, many more things than they had to do when those of us that are 1,000 years old did in the first times of our career, or the adults in the room when we were kids. Those meetings are productive and necessary, and this is the third week in the last 5 that teachers haven't had those meetings. We had a day where we took that time to train teachers how to give the PSAT or SAT, then another time to do that, and now today. So I just want to thank the teachers for making that time up on your own and sacrificing it so we could do things like this. I am delighted that we now have all of our students here, and I'm so grateful she was able to join us. So our next student being recognized for Social Studies Citizenship and Community Service is Lilia Waluski, presented by Mr. Luke Jansen. Come on down.
All right. So, good morning, everyone. It's my honor to present the Social Studies Citizenship Award to Lilia here. I was fortunate enough to have Lilia my first year teaching at LT, so my first semester teaching right after student teaching right off the bat, and I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award, just as far as being empathetic to her classmates, helping others in class, being a leader in class. As incredible as her work was academically, it was even better seeing her as a person in clubs and sports just throughout LT. So in my class specifically, she did receive an A. She was one of the top participators in class. Lilia was in my first period class, which, as a lot of teachers know, hard to get kids to talk first period. So having someone always willing to participate and engage was a huge help for myself. And I really never had to worry about where to put Lilia in group work or seating charts, because I knew everyone was going to love her, everyone was going to get along with her. Some traits that stand out to me when I think of Lilia are her empathy, passion, and just genuine care for helping others. So every day she came into class with a smile in class. You see it with her interactions with classmates in the hallway, other teachers, people in clubs. She just has this positive energy about her that is really contagious to everyone else. Another thing that stands out is her hard work. So it always amazes me when I ask her what she's doing at LT. It's a different club, a different sport, but it's not just that she's in it, it's that she's the head of all of Snowball or the operations manager for WLTL. Whatever it is, she puts 100% and is fully committed into it. And just some quotes from some other teachers. So I was able to talk to a couple other teachers, a couple that are here as well. So her civics teacher, Mrs. McCready, said, Lilia was always a student I could count on to participate and engage her peers in civil discourse, even in uncomfortable topics. I was so impressed with how mature and empathetic she was. You can clearly see how she is a person for others in her involvement in Snowball and how welcoming she is to literally everyone she sees in the hallways. She is full of positive energy and was a joy to have as a student. Similarly, WLTL leader Mr. Thomas said Lilia is the operations manager for WLTL Radio, which is the student in charge of all aspects of the radio station, from what you hear on air, what happens behind the scenes, Lilia tirelessly works for the students and listeners of WLTL and is a joy to be around. Recently, she was named Station Manager of the Year at the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System National Conference. I think I said that right. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So, again, yes, that was hard to say. Again, incredibly impressive, but not surprised one bit. And then lastly, Mrs. Patel, who's in charge of Snowball, who probably could have wrote a 10-page email about Lilia, just kept it short and said, when I think of Lilia, I think of her passion for Snowball and her strong heart. Everything she does is with her whole heart. So it always just impressed me how she was so willing to jump into new opportunities. For instance, Snowball being a participant to start and then becoming the head of the whole club. And for those that don't know, that's 200, 300 people that go every semester. So it's really impressive to be planning those weekends, in charge of those weekends. And I was fortunate enough to be on probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 of those that she was on as well. And it was really cool to see her interact with others and just the empathy she shows others. So I think overall, just all of her involvement, her service to others. I believe you're in water polo now, correct? Yes. Water polo, and you just picked that up this year?
I picked it up last year.
Last year, okay. So it was always funny to me when I would talk to Lilia, now that she's at North Campus, because there would be something new that she would be in and be like suddenly the leader, the captain, or something different, which always really impressed me. So overall, not only was she a part of LT, but she's been a leader at LT in so many different ways. So I've told her this before, and she's heard me say it, but she's going to be successful whatever she does after college, throughout college, just because the way she treats others, her empathy, and just her ability to be so personable around others. So I feel lucky, fortunate to be a small part of all of what she's accomplished, and she'll continue to accomplish. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. Woke up late this morning, but we won't talk about that. I'm here. We could call it fashionably late if we would. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Jansen. He has been someone who has been my ride or die this last couple of years. I know it's been really hard for a lot of us, but it just feels really good to be appreciative of what we have. I will be attending Miami of Ohio to study nursing, and maybe minor in nutrition or whatnot. But yes, it feels amazing to be here, and I'm very appreciative of all my teachers who have taught me and also all my students who have been with me. So thank you.
All right, I'm old, so after this breakfast, I'm going to need one of the young teachers to tell me what ride or die means. Lily, my son is a freshman at Miami of Ohio, so I will be going there for the next 3 years. So if you need a care package brought out to Oxford or something, just shoot me an email. Keg, my other son, lives and works in Madison, so maybe we'll cross paths in the future as well. We like to keep it in the family. I'm going to do something that one person in this room will not be happy about, but I won't say I don't care, but I'm willing to do it anyway. I would just like the room to give a round of applause to one of our teachers who's retiring after 20-plus years serving kids in the business ed department, Mr. George Loan. If you could just raise your hand. George is the epitome of kid-centered. It's never about him, which is why he's not happy that I did this. He served as a teacher. He was the assistant division chair for many years. He has taught almost everything in the business ed department. He currently is especially focused on Accounting 1 and Accounting 2 and did an insane amount of paperwork and bureaucracy navigation to get dual credit status for that, so our kids who take accounting here get college credit for it. And he's just a gentleman and a scholar and a true public servant, so I just wanted to recognize him. One more round of applause, please. Okay, back to students. Our next student being recognized for excellence in social studies is Tudor Alexandranu, presented by Mr. John Seipel.
Good morning, everyone. We're all nervous up here as teachers. It's scary. Before I start with the tutor, I think we'd all be remiss. You know, we just talked about George retiring, but Paul Houston is going to be retiring at the end of this year, and he's been with us for 20 plus years in the social studies department. Plus, he's also been an assistant principal, and he's going into a new profession. He's going to be a principal at one of the Catholic schools, Providence Catholic, down in New Lenox. So I would like you guys to give a round of applause to Paul. He's really been a guiding light, and I got to tell you, I think this is the best division in the entire school because of him. Okay, the teachers follow his lead, which is wonderful. So, thank you, Paul. So, let me introduce Tutor. Tutor is in my AP Psychology class. I just want to mention the classes that he has taken. He's taken 5 classes in the Social Studies department. Starting with AP Human Geography, AP European History, AP U.S. Government, AP U.S. History, and now AP Psychology. So I don't think you find too many students who will take that rigorous of a schedule in any department, let alone this department. So that is a tribute to who Tutor is. Tutor is someone who is going to push himself to excel at whatever he does. I asked for some comments from some teachers, and some teachers sent me this. Ms. Drogos, he was always engaged in class discussions. It's something you're going to hear over and over again here in the next couple minutes. He would dissect the high level information that was being brought to him in European history and be able to use that for his discussions with his other colleagues. And he was astute at taking outside information and bringing it in and connecting it to the current events, which is outstanding. 2 of his teachers aren't here, Mr. Milkert, Ms. Piper, and so I didn't get anything from them. Miss Lee, who was his U.S. government teacher, had him during the COVID year, you know, where he had him. She had him January, February, and then by the time March came, everything was shut off and he was at home. But he was always engaged. He was always on the video screen. Okay. Sorry. Always on the video screen. But that's okay. I've got Kate in class too, so I can have a little fun with Kate. But he was always engaged. Now for my part. I'm fortunate to have Tutor and help him finish his career at LT. He has been a guiding light in AP Psychology. He's one who, when he writes, it's when you get those FRQs and it's like just late at night and you're trying to grade them, and then all of a sudden you get to Tutors and it's just like, okay. It's a few minutes where you can just take a breath and enjoy what you read there, instead of trying to struggle to say, hey, work more on this, work more on that. He was always one of the strongest writers in the class. He was always engaged in the class discussions. He was always working at what we needed to get done. Okay? So I am proud to present Tutor to the class as part of the Excellence in Social Studies. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm at a loss for words. So I will be attending Washington University in St. Louis in the fall, where I'm thinking of studying comparative literature. And one thing I really loved about LT Social Studies was its depth. I'm grateful both for this award and the knowledge of the world, past and present, that informs everything I do.
Couple of notes. First of all, Tutor, I'm confident you will do amazing things, but you might want to consider at least a minor in social studies, because given your AP credits here, you're probably 90% of the way there. I love the fact that your first name is a British royal family name and you're a Social Studies Award recipient. And two of the teachers who taught you and loved having you in class who are not here, I just need to explain, Mr. Milkert is on leave for the year and Ms. Piper had her second child a week and a half ago. So there are good reasons they're not here. It's not apathy at all. I'm sure they would love to be here. Continuing on then, we would like to recognize the Outstanding Business Education student, who is Charlotte Sands, presented by Mrs. Jennifer Walker and Mrs. Krista Wilcox.
Good morning. It is our pleasure to introduce Charlotte Sands as the Outstanding Business Education student. I have watched Charlotte grow into a lovely young lady who is going places. I've had the privilege of working with Charlotte for 3 years since she joined Business Professionals of America, BPA, her sophomore year. I remember her and a few friends would make the commute over from South Campus to North Campus, and that can be a really scary thing. It's for a South Campus student. It's always a challenge for underclassmen to find events that they really want to compete in. Charlotte and her friends wanted to stick together, so they decided to compete in the administrative support team event. They placed first at the state competition and advanced to nationals in Washington, D.C. This is a big deal, and especially when you're a sophomore. Charlotte was also an active participant in Eurythmics, and their show was the same weekend. I remember her mom working really diligently to make the flights so that she could participate in both events. That is dedication. However, sadly, COVID hit and everything was shut down. Junior year, Charlotte remained dedicated and competed remotely at regionals. Charlotte again competed with the administrative support team and earned second place and placed fourth in intermediate word processing. I remember being at home with my kids. They were like 10 and 12, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, BPA, they're competing." And they're like, "Online? They're taking a test? They want to do this?" And so it was cracking me up. But it was amazing how we pulled together and pulled off entire competition online. Then we started to get back into some normalcy. Charlotte says, "I believe getting people interested in the club, perhaps with an increase in social media presence, as well as being flexible with scheduling for club meetings, will help us reach more people and grow our club. I already have attended both curricular nights and also activities fair at South Campus." Well, you guessed it, we found our next president of BPA. She has done a fantastic job leading this year's group. Charlotte participated in a new event this year, Presentation Management Team, and she earned 5th place. She also placed 3rd in intermediate word processing, which made her a national qualifier once again. True to be told, we also have Eurythmics again, same date, same time this year. Charlotte has decided to focus on Eurythmics as she is a team member. We wish her all the best. And Mrs. Wilcox would like to talk.
So I first met Charlotte second semester, her freshman year, in my introduction to business class. Charlotte was always upbeat, inquisitive, and always participated in class and would help other students out. She had such a positive attitude and showed a great deal of maturity as a freshman. During this class, I could tell that Charlotte had a great business sense. Charlotte went on to take computer applications, I believe her sophomore year, and AP Computer Science her senior year. I have also had the pleasure of working with Charlotte in BPA this year, so that has been as Ms. Walker said, a great opportunity to work with her more. Charlotte is a natural leader. She's always willing to listen, learn, and take on new challenges. I spoke to one of her teachers, Mr. Garrettson, for computer applications, and he had a few things to share. He said, Charlotte has an amazing personality and drive like no other. She is creative, determined, and has wisdom beyond her years. Whatever she sets her mind to, she will accomplish and exceed expectations. So, Charlotte, we know you have a bright future ahead of you, and we wish you the best of luck. You will definitely be missed, and we hope that you stay in touch with us. So congratulations.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to all my teachers. This is really special. I wrote this down because I want to make sure that I don't skip anybody. But in the fall, I'll be attending University of Michigan, and I plan on majoring in psychology. I'd first like to thank Miss Wilcox for nurturing my love in business my freshman year in Intro to Business, and then introducing me to the club, Business Professionals of America. Although my junior year was mainly virtual, I still had an amazing time over the 3 years, just getting to know everyone, and especially getting, I guess, closer with the sponsors as well. And this year I was lucky enough to be elected as president, and I was very excited to do that. Although I'll miss nationals this year because of Eurythmics, I wish the best for those competing and future club members. Thank you.
And unfortunately, our final student who's being recognized today cannot be recognized by the teacher who nominated him and couldn't say enough nice things about him. Mr. Blake Saunders is unable to be with us. I want to respect his privacy, but I also want to be clear, he is not here because we all know the world we're living in, and he's not allowed to be at school today. So I think we all understand. It's unfortunate, but he prepared some remarks. So please welcome Luke Caruso, the outstanding applied technology student. I'll do my best. Luke started his journey on the engineering pathway later than most students at LT. His first class was during the first semester of his junior year during remote learning. So in a compressed period of time, he has been outstanding to the point that he is the student being recognized from the entire department. I am not sure that is how I would want to start my experience, but Luke did not let this deter him. As teachers, we spent time asking, encouraging, demanding, or letting the black screen of Zoom go during this time. Well, not with Luke. For most days, he had his camera turned on and was ready to participate. Thank you, Luke. You made teaching during this time more enjoyable. Once we were able to finally return to some in-person learning, that is where I truly started to see Luke flourish. In this time, I observed a determined Luke grasp and apply the skills needed to be successful in the engineering discipline. In his journey through the engineering courses, I have seen diligence, determination, and perseverance. Luke truly understands that he will get out what he puts into the course. He asks well-thought-out questions that help guide him in his engineering journey. Luke has a natural ability to lead. His peers look to him for guidance in a project-based course. There are times when there are more hands in the air than I, the teacher, can get to during class time. Without being asked, and of course not expected to, I have observed Luke providing guidance to his peers on many, many occasions. His potential for leadership is excellent. This quality, along with numerous others, have laid an excellent foundation for Luke to amazing things in the future. Luke's future is bright, and he will truly be missed in the hallways and classrooms of LT. I wish you luck and look forward to hearing about your next adventures when you leave LT. Good luck and congratulations, Luke.
just to finish off all the students here, I'd just like to thank Mr. Saunders, although he's not here. It was great to get to know him over these past 2 years, especially during COVID times. Although I started late as Mr. Walker, as he said, it really helped me understand what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and I will be attending Michigan State in the fall to study biosystems engineering, and I'm very excited to do that.
Raise your hand, teachers and parents, if you now understand why we ask the students to speak. I hate to be redundant, I'm sorry, but I'm not really sorry. They're just such amazing individuals. I need to be clear on a couple of things. As much as the teachers gushed about the students being recognized today, that's the short version. We give them a time frame and give them a limit so that we can get to first period on time. They could and would say more. That's the compressed version. Another thing you may have gleaned listening to the teachers, grades, classes taken, GPA, they matter. That's the first threshold to be discussed to be one of the possible students being recognized. But that's really only the first step. There are a few hundred great students in every senior class, several hundred. But this is about so much more than academic achievement. It's the people they are. It's their participation. It's their attendance. It's their service to others. It's leadership. It's character. It's academic and intellectual curiosity. It's all the things that make us know without a doubt there are amazing things in store for the future of each and every student being recognized today, because that's the stuff that matters. We really appreciate one round of applause for the students for sharing what they plan to do in the future in their remarks on the panel. I do want to tell you that it is, what time is it, Kylie? 8:16, 8:17. So we have teachers with first period at South Campus. When we wrap up and they bolt, it's not being disrespectful. They just don't want unsupervised freshmen, particularly over at the other campus. Also, my deepest and most heartfelt thank you from me and from the teachers to the parents for the gifts your children are. I don't know many of these students very well. Keg is one of those kids, I go to a lot of things after school and I see him all the time. I think he lives here, or maybe like others, maybe like Mr. Antlep, he is one of triplets because I see him all the time. But gosh, you make our days. You make our careers. There are some things in our career, there are meetings, there's grading, there's lesson planning, right? It's a job. Every job has parts of it you don't like. But this is the stuff that matters. Making a difference in a kid's life, being inspired by a kid, being taught by a kid. We learn from the students here. Raise your hand, teachers or parents, if some of the things you heard about kids today make you feel like, boy, I better pick up my game. They're amazing human beings, and we are truly blessed to have gotten to know them, to have spent time with them, to develop connections and relationships with them, and that doesn't happen by accident. So students and teachers, can we please have a round of applause for the parents in this room? So thank you for everything you've done for 4 years, seniors. Thank you for everything you've done for the seniors 4 years, teachers. Thank you for the teachers who nominated students, who spoke on behalf of students today. Thank you again for Randy and Candy and Claire and Susan for making such a wonderful event. Seniors, if you're smart and want to score some points, you can take the flowers from your table and give them to your mother. You're welcome to do that. You can also find your name on the table and take that card and or the little sheet on the wall. Anything you like to, you don't have to, but you're welcome to. So thank you again for everything everyone in this room has done to make a great 4 years and a great morning. Have a great day. Thank you.